Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Brandon. Welcome to Audio Addiction, where you can find latest album reviews. You can find our band interviews, and you can find live coverage of the concerts that we get. I've been posting a ton of content as of lately, whether it be interviews, live sets. I've been trying to do a lot of album reviews, and I have a new series that will be coming up very soon where I'll be doing them all live very, very, very soon. So check those out. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, hit that thumbs up, share it. It goes a long way. But tonight, we're going to be talking about Andreas's newest record, Once Upon a Time in Bakersfield.
Maybe I become one of those reformatic hustlers. Maybe I take blame for the shitty things I do.
So, as you know, this channel, Audio Addiction, is a big fan of Andreas. I've been covering him ever since I think it was either 2016 or 2017, but we've been friends for a pretty long time, and I've done records of Strange Memories on his Nervous Night back in 2017. I did his review of Heroes, Villains, and All That Jazz back in 2018, and I had to do a review of the newest record, so I'm gonna go through each song, give you my pros and cons on it, and then finish it out with an overall rating. So the first track is called Cold Hives and Screwdrivers. This one is very different. I feel like I'm on the fence on this song in particular. It's a little bit more minimalistic than what I have expected from him. A lot of his songs have some really kind of unique layering done to it, but this one has primarily vocals and like some guitar work and he has some like layered vocals, but it's fairly bare bones considering a lot of the other stuff that he's released, and even kind of the singles off of this record that he's released as well feel very different from a track like this. The layered vocals were definitely a nice touch, as I had mentioned prior, but it feels different than the previous work that he has done. It doesn't feel as high energy. It's a little bit more, I would say, personable, which is something that I wasn't really expecting from him as a vocalist, but I like that he's expanding his musical resume, as I might say. But a solid track. I wouldn't say it's particularly a favorite of mine, but I appreciate the artistic approach going on in this track. So we're going to move into track number 2, which is Maybe. This is the second single that he released, and I love when he incorporates those sort of Spanish vibes into any of his tracks. I would say they're a little bit more apparent in previous records, but this one is a solid addition to add to that lineup. I also feel like Alan has a big influence on, adding a lot of those Spanish elements to his songs, because Alan is his producer, and I know that they do obviously a lot of work together. And I just love the addition that the piano brings in this song as well. I think it pays homage to his heritage as being, a Spanish person, which is definitely cool. And again, I love that he focuses on it, and that it's a key focal point in this song. A lot of the, I say, melodies and like the way that it's written are all based around that sort of piano part, which is definitely really cool. And I like that this one has more of a, I guess, heavier feel to it. It feels very weird to say that, but it's a little bit more aggressive, which I appreciate, because some of the songs off of Heroes and Villains definitely had a little bit more of a like grungy sort of aggressive tinge to it, and I would love to hear him kind of expound upon that a little bit more in future releases. But this one is one of my favorites that he's written as just an artist. It's catchy, it's memorable, and it's one that I love coming back to because I feel like it's solidly written. So we're gonna move into track number 3, which is Sunny Wides. I'm pretty sure that's how it's said, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, Andreas. But this one is definitely softer. I think much like Cold Hives and Screwdrivers, this one kind of plays off of his more minimalistic approach. Has just acoustic guitar and vocals, as opposed to Cold Hive. I feel like that one was a little bit, I guess, edited in some ways, not like musically edited, but it feels like it has a little bit more polish to it, and this one feels a little bit more like an acoustic sort of rendition of a song. I do like the natural approach. However, I think in juxtaposition to maybe, which was kind of semi high energy, has definitely a lot more energy. And then obviously the first track, Hold Hives, I think it plays off of the sort of softerness of the record, and it's kind of a weird, I guess, shift in the record that where they had a soft song, then we have kind of more of an aggressive, more like a high energy sort of song, and then you kind of bring it back down with a sort of softer song. I would have loved the placement maybe to be a little bit later on in the record. I think it would have been much better switched out than to be at that third slot, but obviously I didn't write the record, but I can give my opinion on it. And I feel like this one just feels just the slightest bit out of place in terms of the arrangement of the record. So we're gonna move into track number 4, which is Kata Mess. I'm pretty sure again I said that right. Don't hold me to it because I can barely speak English. So this is just even on another level. But getting back to this song, again, much like maybe, I love this sort of Spanish vibes, digging the guitar work in this track as well. It definitely feels like classic Andreas, and I like that he's coming back to form in a song like this. It has those bits of energies that I feel like really bring a nice punch to the song. And as a whole, I think just the way that he incorporates sort of his Spanish vocals as well as kind of his English lyricism, well, Spanish lyricism and English lyricism, I think was a really nice addition, and I think it brings a nice element to his music. I know he's already done it before, but I think in the confines of this track, I think it really works, and just the way that he was able to incorporate some of his Spanish lingo, I think was really cool. Overall, I dug the whole melody of this song. Definitely one of those ones to keep on your radar. So we're gonna move into track number 5, which is Bargain Bin Action Figure. I dig the intro of this track and probably the first verse, but once it gets into the song, it almost has a sort of Hobo Johnson-esque part to it, spoken word. Musically, I appreciate the approach of the song. However, they feel almost like three separate portions of a song. They have at the end of the song, there's almost like this sort of like vocal, like very like if you recorded the song with like your iPhone and then like recorded it to a microphone and obviously had maybe some sort of like had some sort of like vinyl crackle and stuff like that, which made this that portion of the song very interesting. But it felt like three parts of three separate, completely separate songs. And I know that Andreas kind of likes to switch up genres here and there and just kind of incorporate two different genres that may not fit into like one particular song, but this one just feels a little bit just too experimental for me. And they just feel almost incomplete at certain points because it's at the beginning it has this really cool kind of like melodic line, and in the first verse I'm like, yeah, this is really tight, and then it gets into that Hobo S. Johnson spoken word part, and then I'm like, oh man, like this is a little bit different, this is a little bit weird, let me listen out to it, and it just didn't really click with me. And then the last part was very cool, I liked it, but again, it feels out of place in comparison to all three of those parts in one complete song. So we're gonna move it into track number 6, which is A Child's Garden of Verses. This one again is out of left field too. The string arrangement is super tight in this song. It feels again very different from the normal Andreas record, or what you know from Andreas as well. But it has almost an operatic feel to it, which is very weird in and of itself. But the way that he's able to blend it, I would say primarily towards mostly the end of the song, really comes into his own. And I would have loved for him to kind of start that off a little bit sooner, just because it does feel almost like an opera song in some respects. Which again, his vocals sound super awesome in this track. Is just maybe upon first listen and just kind of like listening to it many times after that, it just still hasn't clicked in my book. So we're gonna move into track number 7, which is High School. This one features Tyler Carter, and this one is the first single which he released with a music video as well. I dig the sort of 8-bit feel to it, especially at the intro and kind of first verse. This one has a reminiscent feel of a lot of his older material. which is definitely cool, and it kind of feels like almost like a transitional sort of song into this record. Tyler comes in at around the 1 minute and 5 second mark to around the 1 minute and 30 second mark, and I think his vocals definitely complement the track. He's always been one of my favorite vocalists, and to hear him with Andreas is awesome. And shouts to them. But I love that Alan doubled up the vocals, whether he had kind of like a higher register piece and then obviously the lower register point, and are very complementary to each other. And he also shows up in parts of the chorus and the bridge, which is very cool, and I think it's great utilization of the guest vocals because their vocal patterns are kind of similar. And I think that they play off each other very well. I would have loved to hear some harmonization between Andreas and Tyler. I think that would have been really cool. But there's the way that they arrange the vocals, I think, is definitely the strong point of this song. And one of the better tracks off the record, without a doubt. And definitely enjoyed this one as well, like I had mentioned. So we're gonna move into track number 8, which is Cul-de-sac. This is very much an interlude sort of track. However, the portion between the 15-second mark to around the minute mark, I would have loved to hear him expound upon that idea. And have it kind of be a complete song and not just be an interlude. It feels very childish Gambino-esque, I'd say more so in the era of Awaken My Love, which is his most recent record. And it has that sort of vibe to it, and in my opinion, I feel like it's a missed opportunity. It would have been a lovely song to kind of riff off of, and I would have loved to see how it went. But I do realize kind of like how self-aware the song is, and how it kind of self sets up the rest or the last two tracks of the record in a unique way. So I don't think it's a total bust, but I would have loved to hear kind of an explanation or an expansion of cul-de-sac. So we're gonna move into track number 9, which is Lima Heights. Either know it was either this one or Colossal Titan. That my shout outs to my friend Jack from the Buried Heart. He had mentioned that this used to be either this track, Lima Heights, or Colossal Titan used to be a I'm forgetting the band name right now. God, I should remember it, but if it comes back to me, I'll say it. But this track is very solid. I love the instrumentation on it. It feels very math rocky, sort of indie, definitely reminiscent of their first record. And then the band that I was thinking of was Terra Alive, his first band. It has that sort of vibe to it, and I don't know if whether or not he kind of took parts from Terra Alive and put it in either one of this track or Colossal Titan. But it feels very much along those lines and along the lines of the first record, Strange Memories, which is really cool. I love the integration of rap and his clean vocals. It's probably one of the biggest reasons why I love him as a vocalist, is just the way that he's able to translate not only his rap parts but also his like clean singing in a super intricate and unique way. And I think it always works out super well no matter how he does it. And I also love how he just kind of keeps the flow of the song in terms of not only his like rap parts but also his clean singing. I think we're both very solid. I love the rhythmic change at around the 1 minute and 45 second mark to around the 2 minutes and 15 second mark. That was a nice rhythmic change up. And this one is definitely one of the stronger tracks off the record. So we're gonna move into the last track, track number 10, which is Colossal Titan. Much like Lima Heights, this one also has more of a math rocky sort of feel to it, reminiscent of bands like Tiny Moving Parts, American Football, things of that nature, like Midwest emo, even kind of free throw in that respect. But this one feels fairly straightforward, which is nice because a lot of these songs are a little bit out of bounds for me personally. But it's a no frills track that what you hear is what you get, and it very much is so. But it's a nice kind of change to a decently interesting record, and I feel like this one kind of, keeps that sort of like base level, that foundation of what Andreas does. And I'm glad that he still continues to do songs like that. But I also like that he's able to do songs that are a little bit more experimental. So some pros and cons, I'd say I'm going to go through some of my cons. I feel like this record was a little bit soft in my opinion. I'd say like Cold High Screwdrivers, Sunny Wides, bargain bin action figure. I feel like the pacing was just a little bit off to me, and it was just a little bit too experimental for my taste. I mean, I love his stuff. I still love his first two records immensely, but there's just something about this record that I don't really understand, and maybe it's just my, you know, lack of like understanding, the bigger meaning of it, but I just felt like it wasn't as strong as some of this stuff that he's done previously. There was some really great moments of brilliance. I'd say like A Child's Garden of Verses was really solid. If it was maybe just arranged a little bit more, I guess, forward thinking, I would have loved to hear him kind of combine the string arrangement with like that sort of emo-ness of what he does to like, the instrumentation coming in like maybe halfway through. I think that would have been really solid. I think High School is one of the best tracks off the record, and it was one of the singles. I think Maybe's a really great track that kind of utilizes his, again, sort of emo vibes, and I think it was something that I was expecting to come out of A Child's Garden of Verses, in that sort of respect. But and then he obviously has songs that are, very much of what I enjoy from him, which is Caught a Mess, maybe, as I mentioned before, Lima Heights, Colossal Titan. Those really play into that sound that I associate with Andreas. But some pros that I have, again, vocals, I think he really did a great job. I think while not all of the experimentation hit for me personally, I think just the way that he's been able to experiment over the past 3 years have been really interesting. And I know that he even told me that this record is different from his previous work. So I definitely feel like it's a little bit more of an expansion upon, his as a vocalist and him as a band. And I'll always support this guy because, I really do feel like he is a extremely talented person. And, again, this is no gripes on him. I still love him to death. But I was just more surprised at, the direction that he took on this record. So my overall rating for Andreas is Once Upon a Time in Bakersfield. I'm going to be giving it an 8.5 out of 10. I wouldn't say it's particularly a bad record. I just feel like for myself, it wasn't something that struck me immediately, and maybe it was just the amount of times that I listened to it. I mean, I listened to it a good amount of times and it just didn't strike me as older stuff, and I just thought maybe I wasn't thinking right. Let me go listen to his older stuff. And I had listened to both records prior to him sending me over this one, and I just feel like in comparison, the old stuff still reigns supreme in my mind. But let me know in the comments what you think about this record. If you agree with me, if you disagree, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I always love having a conversation about it, and to the shout outs to the people that comment below. It's been a really great time just kind of seeing your side of it, seeing your opinions on it. And, if you've been following Andreas for as long as I have, you know that I only say it from a place of love. So, let me know in the comments, like I had mentioned before, what you think about the record. And if you like this review, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, share it. It goes a long way. And my name is Brandon. We hope you got your fix, and we'll be talking with you soon. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com, and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.